Today we're going to talk about line graphs. It's one of the task 1 assignments you're going to meet in your IELTS exam. Remember, what do we know about task 1 in IELTS writing? Who can tell me what are the features of this task? No, generally. Let's speak generally.
We have only 20 minutes to write it.
Yeah, you are given about 20 minutes. Of course, you remember, yes? You are given 60 minutes to write your writing module. Yes? Out of 60 minutes, you have to spend about 20 for task 1 and around 40 for task 2. Of course, you can spend more than 20 minutes, yeah, for task 1 if it is too difficult. But still, it's recommended to spend around 20 minutes because 1/3 of your total writing score, yes, is for task 1. Only 1/3, 33% about. That's why you have to spend less time, yes, and less effort for task 1 than for task 2. In IELTS task 1, you have to write about 150 words, yes? I strongly recommend you to write more than 150, yes, around 170. Why? Because some of the words will not be counted because of repetition. Okay? For example, the word graph or describe or any other. Okay? Articles are not counted twice. Okay? They will be counted one by one because these are articles. You cannot omit articles or paraphrase them. So, let's move on. Let's look at this example, this line graph. Okay, the line graph below shows the percentage of tourists to Scotland who visited 4 different attractions in Edinburgh. When we studied how to write maps, we have already discussed the structure of any task 1. There must be introduction, overview, body 1, and body 2. Okay? In some exceptional cases, you might have body 3, but in most of the cases, you will be given only 2 bodies. Okay? So this is just a very simple line graph. Okay? Where vertical axis shows us the percentage, yes, of the tourist trade, and horizontal is a time frame. In almost every line graph, horizontal line is a time frame. Okay? Remember, line graphs are dynamic graphs. What does it mean? It means that we can observe that it changes, yes, throughout the time. So we can discuss not only the change, but also the speed of change. For example, here we can say that the speed of change, yes, here, is way faster than, for example, here. Yes? Because during the shorter period, it increased by larger percentage comparing to this one. Do you have any questions? So now let's discuss these features. What are the major trends? What each line means? Comparisons, and what are the main features? Okay? Let's discuss at first what is the major trend or trends. Castle. Okay.
And also aquarium.
Major trend is something about the general graph. Okay? About the graph generally speaking. What is the major trend of this graph or trends? Yes? Because castle is a main feature. Yes? It's mostly the main feature, but not the major trend. Yes, it's something that stands out of the graph. But the major trend is something general. Okay? Huh?
Нет.
Yeah. Major trend is a general picture.
Tourists or
Okay, what is the major trend?
attractions?
No, not attraction. They are all attractions, yes?
Yes.
What is the major trend of this graph? What does it show us?
The
What-
percentage of tourists
Yes, of course, percentage of tourists. What else?
Visiting.
Visiting different places, okay. What else? What is the major trend of the change?
In the beginning they were fluctuating, but to the end of the period they were
Increase.
нет,
Ah,
decreased.
decrease.
Нет, they were slightly.
Major trend here is that castle and zoo, yes, had become, we can say, more popular. However, aquarium and festival lost their interest trade. This is the major trend. Okay? So you see, we are talking about all of the attractions in general. We're not talking about each of them, yes, separately. We're trying to describe the general trend, how it changed. Let's imagine the situation that all of them had an upward trend. Then we can say that despite of fluctuations, each attraction had a positive trend or upward trend or raising trend. Okay? Remember, what is the major trend? Major trend is about what is happening generally on the picture. Okay? On the graph. This is a major trend. What each line means. Let's talk about each line separately. Okay? Each line. This red one, this blue, purple, or orange.
The festival during the war period decreased.
What each line means. Listen carefully, please. I'm not talking about only orange one. What each line means.
It shows how the attractions became popular.
It shows the attraction
The popularity.
rate, or yes, the attraction rate or popularity rate. Yes? So here we can understand, okay, the popularity increased, yes, by the time. So each line shows us the population, popularity, yes, or visiting trade throughout the time. Remember, you have to really understand what each line means. Because if you misunderstand, then probably you will go out of topic when you start describing. Further, we are going to look at such tricky line graph, where it's too easy to go out of topic. Here it's very clear. We are talking about the tourist trade. Yes? The attractions, measured by percentage, increased or decreased. Now we can understand that. Do you have any questions? So we understand what each lines mean. So, comparisons.
Yeah, it's
Which
a
comparisons we can have here?
All types of comparisons. For
Comparisons.
example, festivals to zoos or castles like
Can
where,
divide it
Festival with
Where
castle and
some where is compared to some.
And what, tell me about exact comparison points. Where exactly we can compare and what?
aquarium with zoo. It's both of them start to increase in one time and decrease in 1 year. And the graph
You're talking about
before
aquarium and festival or aquarium and zoo?
aquarium and zoo before 1995, their actions were similar. Increase, decrease.
The interest in is it aquarium or no?
Blue aquarium and blue.
It's
Blue, okay.
Blue
This
is
is the
green.
carbon, yes?
Blue is green.
What else? What other type of comparison we can
We
have?
also can divide into the groups in the body A, aquarium and festival, and in the second, castle and zoo.
Okay, what is the reason?
In the first body A, reason that at the end of
1
the
minute, I'm
period.
sorry.
Тоже забыла.
Okay, because you decided to group this data,
Aquarium.
castle and zoo together, and
She said
Very
aquarium and
good
festival.
mhm.
She said aquarium and festival.
I think it doesn't
Yes.
matter.
It doesn't matter which one we start first.
Or it doesn't matter.
So, probably because aquarium and festival, yes, beside the fluctuations, had a downward trend,
Yeah.
yes? Whereas castle and zoo attractions, yes, were found to be the most attractable throughout the period given, and also experienced an upward trend. Yes? And what is the main feature?
The castle is drastically
Increased drastically.
Yeah.
So, yes, main feature is something that stands out on the graph. If you look at the graph and what the first thing comes to your mind is
The
this
castle.
is, yes, the standing out feature, and this is the main feature of the graph. Here, definitely, main feature is that castle had a really very high upward trend right in the middle of the period given. Yes? And it reached its peak,
45%.
yes, in 1995. Around 45%. Is it clear? Do you have any questions? So, let's talk about these ones. Again, the graph below shows average carbon dioxide, CO2 emissions per person in the United Kingdom, Sweden, Italy, and Portugal between 1967 and 2007. If you look at the graph again, we can say that United Kingdom and Sweden had a downward trend, whereas Italy and Portugal an upward trend. Yes? And what is the standing out feature? The first thing that comes to my mind, yes, the standing out feature is that United Kingdom,
The steady up.
yes, it had a gradual
Slight
decrease,
decrease.
yes, gradual decrease, but still it remains to be
The first.
the country, yes, it was the first country with the highest emission rate, and it remained, yes, it took its position, yes, it hasn't swapped with someone. It means even despite the drop, the average carbon dioxide emissions per person remain the highest among all other countries. Okay? And again, what is the comparison? We can take these two countries, England,
And
Yes.
unfortunately.
yes. And what each line shows? Each line shows the CO2 emissions in metric tons, yes, per person throughout the time given. Good, let's go on. And this is the most challenging. This is the most challenging not because it's very difficult to describe, because it's very easy, yes, to start talking about different things. Okay, the graph below shows the average monthly change in the prices of 3 metals during 2014. This is 1 year period only. Who can tell me which time we should use? Come on. Which time? Time.
Present,
Past.
past,
Present, past, or future?
past,
Past.
Past.
Past, because it's
Twenty.
2014. Yes. Don't forget if the year given is in the past, all graph description must be in the past. Then, here you can see copper, nickel, and zinc. Yes? 3 metals. And we can see how its price, yes, their price changed throughout the time. Do you have any questions?
no,
No. Excellent. So, what we're going to look at further. Here, when students start describing this line graph, they start talking about metals. They start saying, okay, nickel, yes, was the highest, for example, yes, but then it dropped, yes, to its minimum and became the least popular, then it increased and so on and so forth. So they start describing not the average monthly change. They start talking about metal itself. Remember, these are changes not of the metal. These are changes of its price. Okay? Of its price. So by January, yes, by January, yes, the price for this metal increased by 6%. Then, in what?
You forgot to talk about online.
I didn't forget.
You listen.
They can see. Computer. They can. Amir? Amirhan, can you see?
Yes.
I shared screen with them. Okay, so the price, yes, the price has increased by 6%, and then in March, yes, the increase rate of price was only 1%. So it increased in January, it increased in February, and it increased in March. It increased. You see why it's tricky? You start talking not about the prices, you start talking about the changes of metal. Be very careful. Let's imagine the situation that nickel costed in December of year 2013. Its price constituted around $100 per something. Yes, per some unit. $100. And then by January, its price increased. And now it constitutes $106. Yes, it increased by 6%. So the price now is $106. Yes? In February, its price again increased by smaller percentage. Yes? It increased only by 4%. So
Where we have zero, there was.
there was no increase.
Ah.
You see, it's very challenging, so you need to be very careful. 106 multiplied by 1.04. So now its price is $110.24. And in May, its price is in March, yes. Then 24 multiplied by 1.1, not 1.1, 1.01, yes? 0.1. $111. Here the same $111. And here, I think there was again, yes? Change in the price. And now it constitutes, not constituted, yes, in May it constituted how many? Multiplied by 1.005. $8. But then in June, yes, its price decreased by 3% from the current. So I need to multiply this number to 0.97 in order to know what 97% of the total price it constitutes. Multiply by 0.97 and it is $108.5. You see? So the lowest price for now is $108.5. Now here, will it be lower or higher?
Higher.
Be careful.
No.
Lower,
Lower,
because
lower,
again
lower,
decreases.
lower.
Yes, in January, in August,
Yes.
and in September, it keeps decreasing by 1%.
Reinstate me.
Okay?
I don't got it.
You didn't get it. So, let's imagine one more time. This line graph, yes, shows the monthly change of nickel. It doesn't show the price. Okay? Here is the percentage, not the price. If this vertical line showed us the price, then we can say, okay, the price increased or decreased. But it shows only the percentage. If percentage is positive, then it is an increase of price. Yes, by 1%, by 2, 3, 6, 4, doesn't matter. It is an increase. If percentage is 0, then it means it remains unchanged. For example, if the price of the nickel looked this way, yes, then it means that during the year, during the entire year, the price didn't change. Yes, it was the same in January, February, March, April, and so on till December. But now we see that the price had changed. Yes? You see? By January, it changed by 6%. By February, it changed by 4%. Yes? By March, by 1% only. Yes? By April, the same 1%. And by May, around 0.5%. But then it's monthly changed. Its monthly change of the price became negative. It means its price decreased by 3%. Here by 1%, by 1%, by 1%, by 2%. But in November, its price again increased by 1% according to the previous one. Is it clear? Yes?
I cannot understand.
Okay, one more time. This is vertical line. Yes, it shows us the percentage, how it changed.
Not price.
Not price, the percentage of change according to the last months. Okay? So, by, it means, what does it mean, 6? It means that by January of year 2014, its price increased by 6%. If it constituted $100 per unit, then it should be $106. In March, it should increase by 4%. Or not in March, in February. Yes?
It increased when the line is decreased.
Again, one more time. This is not the price. This doesn't mean that the price becomes lower. Okay, let me explain you in Russian. Вот эта линия не означает то, что цена падает. Она означает то, что да, месячный рост упал. Ясно? Monthly change in the prices. Линии означают ежемесячное повышение или понижение. То есть здесь он повысился на 6%, в феврале он повысился на 4%, но он же повысился все равно. Он все равно стал дороже, но на меньший процент.
Мы, получается, судим от прошлого месяца, правильно?
Да.
В феврале мы уже судим не от 100, а от 160.
Да, конечно, да. То есть здесь, именно видите, здесь, если я умножал, чтобы узнать, сколько будет на 6% подорожания я умножил на 1.06. Да? 106%, типа, чтобы узнать. И получилось 106. Здесь я же уже умножил тоже на 1.04. Но не вот эту сумму 100, а 106 я умножил. Получилось 110.24. Ясно? То есть вот так менялось. И вот это очень важно. Большинство студентов здесь начинают писать про изменение металла. Типа металл упал. Металл никуда не падал. Ясно? Металл никуда не падал. Здесь график показывает ежемесячное изменение цен. Понятно? Он график не показывает здесь металл падает или растет. Он показывает лишь ежемесячное изменение цены на металл. Неправильно будет написать Nickel dropped gradually during the first 3 months. Никель никуда не падал. Ясно? Его average monthly change in the price decreased. Yes? From 6% to 1% during the first 3 months. Но это не означает, что он подешевел. Наоборот, он дорожал. Просто с каждым разом он дорожал все медленнее и медленнее. Если же к январю 2014 он подорожал на 6%, то к февралю только на 4%, а к марту только на 1%. Ясно? И это очень важно. Поэтому нужно сразу понимать в самом начале, что меняется у меня на графике. Если вы начнете думать, нет, ну здесь, скорее всего, металл меняется, все, вы неправильно все напишите, полностью весь график. Очень важно понять, что график из себя представляет. И вот здесь это все будет написано. Ясно? Все здесь будет написано. Дальше идем. Can we say that, for example, here, zinc was the most expensive comparing to copper and nickel? We cannot. Who doesn't understand why we cannot? Okay, one more time. Представьте такую ситуацию. Я в прошлом уроке как раз это говорил, да, Тарик? Машина. Кто любит узбекские машины? Малибу. Матлюба. Матлюба. И кто любит хлеб кушать? Так, сколько стоит план хлеба сейчас? 2800. Хлеб стоит 2800. Да. Сколько стоит матлюба?
44.
Миллионов. Сколько сумм?
Ой, миллионов много.
Сколько миллионов?
Больше
Миллион.
Это какой 350?
Я просто так.
Давайте тогда доллар. Это получается сколько долларов?
Это
Сколько долларов?
0,1 доллар.
0,1.
Не 0,1, чуть 28 тысяч долларов.
0,3.
0,22. 0,22 где-то.
44.
Сколько стоит Малибу?
44 тысячи.
Такие цены.
Это новый салон.
В районе
Да,
таких
где?
стоит 24 тысячи.
35 тысяч.
30 тысяч.
35 тысяч.
И смотрите, допустим, на днях нам объявят, хлеб теперь стоит
35.
0,44, да, доллара. То есть рост цен 100%. Да?
Вот так это.
А скажут, а Малибу теперь будет стоить 38,5 тысяч. То есть рост на 10%. Здесь рост на 10% составил 3,500. Здесь рост на 100% составил 0,22 доллара. Понятно? Почему изменение цен не может быть, что что-то дороже, а что-то дешевле? То есть мы же не знаем, сколько изначально стоил цинк, медь и никель. Мы не знаем, сколько они стоили. Мы знаем, насколько менялась их цена относительно предыдущего месяца. Ясно? Но мы не знаем, сколько они стоят. Поэтому мы не можем сказать, что здесь цинк дороже, чем медь и никель.
Тут все высчитывать надо? получается.
Ничего высчитывать не надо, ничего. Я вам просто говорю сравнение. Запомните, когда вы описываете line graph и любой другой граф, вам ничего считать не надо. Единственная ваша задача это описать график. Не считать, ничего. Математика, там, справка-отдельный человек вам не нужен. Вы должны просто описать. Цена изменения была такая, менялась так, потом достигла минимума и подешевела на 6% и так далее и тому подобное. Но вы ни в коем случае не должны использовать такие выражения, как цинк стал самым дорогим, никель стал самым дешевым. К июню 2014 года. Не можем так говорить. Мы не знаем, он стал самым дешевым или нет. Потому что даже если та же самая Малибу подешевеет на 100, а не на 50%, она все равно будет дороже хлеба. Намного. Понятно? Несмотря даже на то, что если хлеб вырастет на 1000%, а Малибу будет подорожать на 50%, все равно Малибу будет дороже. То же самое и здесь. Даже несмотря на то, что копер у нас подешевел, да? Копер подешевел, цинк подорожал, да? Он стал тут, а был тут. Если мы вот так возьмем и соединим эти две линии, мы не можем сказать, что он подорожал, да? Мы не можем сказать, что он подорожал. Да, по процентам. Но мы не можем сказать, что он подорожал или подешевел. Опять же, потому что вертикальная ось нам не говорит о том, что он дорожал, что он, сколько он сейчас стоит. Он говорит лишь о том, что, да, насколько он поднялся и так далее. Зачем я вам здесь написал эти цифры? Чтобы вы поняли, почему то, что график падает, не означает, что что-то дешевеет. Ясно? Но на экзамене вы не должны это считать. Ясно? Ни в коем случае. Я вам сейчас говорю, чтобы вы использовали правильный vocabulary для того, чтобы описать изменения на этом графике. То есть вы можете говорить о чем? О том, что цена monthly change rate менялся. Не цена на никель менялась, а monthly change rate менялся. Ясно? И вы должны, когда будете описывать этот график, вы должны именно говорить про monthly change rate. Ясно, да? Не про что-то другое. Именно про monthly change rate. Все ясно? Идем дальше. So now we're going to talk about trends. Which trends do we have? There is an upward or rising trend, downward or falling trend, stable trend, and erratic trend, where there are a lot of fluctuations. Remember, in IELTS we have two types of task 1, dynamic and static. What is the difference? Who can tell me, line graphs are dynamic or static? Dynamic. I told you, yes, before. It is dynamic. Why? Because we have a time frame. We are given a time frame and we can see the change. It is dynamic. Yes, we can see, oh, okay, there was a very fast change or not very fast. Again, let's imagine the situation that we are given not a line graph, but a bar chart. Bar chart is dynamic or static? Static. Static. So, if we're given a bar chart like that, yes, and a line graph like that. So here, we cannot say what happened between these two bars. Yes? Was it a fast change? Can we say, was it a fast change? No, we can talk only about the changes, but not the speed of change. Yes? Because it might be after this year, for example, 94, 95, 96, and 97. So, there could be an increase of price like that, but then a decrease by 95. Or there could be a gradual decrease. Or there could be a significant decrease, then increase, then again decrease. We don't know what happened between. So we cannot talk about the speed of change. That's why it is static. But line graphs are dynamic. because we can talk about the speed of change. Okay? You see? You know how it changed. Yes? You know what happened between year 94 and 95. You know what happened between. And that's why you can talk about the speed of change. Okay? Slowly or rapidly. Yes? Is it clear? This is the main difference between dynamic and static graphs. And with dynamic graphs, you can use the language of speed, like rapidly, slowly, and so on. With static graphs, you cannot. You cannot say that the price increased rapidly, because you don't know what happened between these two bars. Okay? So, be very careful about the figures you are describing. As you remember in previous example, we were given zinc, copper, and nickel. Yes? But we shouldn't talk about these metals. We should talk about their monthly change of the price. Okay? The monthly change in prices, not the metals. If you write zinc decreased, mistake. The monthly rate of change of the price increased or decreased. Is it clear? Do you have any questions? Gio?
We can say that how we should write it.
You should say the monthly rate. Yes, the monthly change of price. Yeah? Or you can say the rate, or the rate increased, decreased, and so on and so forth. But you shouldn't say metal. The thing's rate increased. The thing's monthly change of price increased. Okay? You should be very careful. But of course, you shouldn't repeat yourself many times. Do not repeat yourself by saying monthly change, monthly change, monthly change. Okay? So, what should we do in line description, line graph description? Here, after each topic, you are given summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. You see, selecting and main features. It means we shouldn't describe every single piece of information. No need to talk about these fluctuations. You have to talk only about main features of the graph. Okay? No need to describe every single step, because you will definitely run out of time and word limit. Okay? I strongly recommend you to write 170 words, not because you are not allowed to write more. Of course you are allowed. You are said, write no more than 150. It means that you can write 150, 170, 200, and 300 words. You are allowed. They didn't tell you the ceiling limit. They told you only the floor limit. Yes? But still, as many words you have, as the higher possibility of a mistake exists. Okay? That's why I strongly recommend you to write around 170 words. So here, we can see we are given a line graph. Yes? What does it describe? The graph below shows the availability, how it is available, yeah, of various sweeteners in the USA from 1966 and 2012. Be very careful. Sweetener is not the same as a sugar. Okay? It's not the same as sugar. You cannot say sugar instead of sweetener. Okay? Be very careful with language. So here we are given total. If you are given total, you should be very happy, because you see the general trend. You shouldn't just summarize by yourself. You can look at the general trend and suggest, was it an upward trend or downward trend among all of them? Okay? Then we are given refined cane and beet sugars, corn sweeteners, honey, and vegetable syrups. remember, in introduction, as usual, the only thing we need to do is to paraphrase the topic. That's all. No need to do anything else. Just paraphrase the topic. The diagram illustrates the changes in the amount of various sweeteners available. You see? If I eliminate this word, it sounds differently. Yes? Diagram illustrates the changes in the amount of various sweeteners. Amount didn't change. Availability changed. Yes? Is it available in the market or not? Be very careful. Sweeteners available per person in the United States over 45 years between 1966 and 2012. You see, we have to include all important information like country, the place where it took place, and the years. You cannot omit any of them. Then, in overall, what should we do in overall? In overall, you have to do two things. The first one is to talk about general trend, and the second one is to talk about standing out feature. Okay? Here, overview is too wordy. I do not recommend you to write this way, but this is just an example, a sample for you. What about general trend? You see, you are given total. This is a general trend. Okay? This is a general trend. So you should be very happy when you see total line in your line graph, because you shouldn't think about the general trend. You are given it. You are already given it. Yes? Then, who can tell me what is the standing out feature?
Like honey and
Syrups. Yes, they almost didn't change throughout 45 years. This is a standing out feature, right? This is a standing out feature. It really stands out. These changed, the corn sweeteners changed, but honey and eatable syrups remain approximately the same. So you can tell that the total availability of sweeteners had a negligible, yes, marginal, very, very small increase, yes? If you compare this point and this one, you can see that it increased a little bit, yes? With some fluctuations in year 1996, or with reaching its maximum in year 1996. While honey and eatable syrups, yes, remained stable throughout the whole period given and constituted about just a little bit more than 1% or something else, okay? Or around minority, yes, of the all sweeteners provided in the market or in the graph. Is it clear? Yes. Remember, in overview, you should never talk about any details. The only details you can talk about are the years. You can tell, for example, 1996, but you shouldn't tell me what it constituted. You shouldn't say and reached its maximum in 1996, in year 1996, at about 150. You shouldn't tell me any details in overview. Remember, overview is just the bird view of the graph, from the bird view perspective. Yes? Imagine yourself to be a bird. Can you see any details of the city? No, you cannot. The same thing must happen here. Okay? You should be like a bird, just looking at the graph and talking about major trend, the first one, major trend. And the second one, what? Standing out feature. Two things must be in your overview. Standing out feature and major trend. I recommend you to talk about major trend first, because it's general. Yes? And about standing out feature as the second of your overview. Overall, the total amount of sweeteners saw a marginal rise over the period. the availability of refined cane and wheat sugars saw a significant fall, while in the case of corn sweeteners, the trend kept increasing gradually over the entire period. As for honey and vegetable syrups, there was almost no significant change. Again, this overview is too wordy, but it's just an example for you how you can write about the major trend, yes, or not major trend, the standing out feature of every graph, or just the standing out feature of the whole graph provided. Okay? Do you have any questions? Yes. So, for the next lesson, your homework will be to write introduction and overview for this. You can take a screenshot if you want. Picture. I have already uploaded this slide in Google Classroom, but just remember, this one, yes, this one, and this one.
You should write overview.
Or only introduction and overview. Only introduction and overview. Remember, introduction and overview should constitute about 50 words. About 50 words. Of course, you can write more, you can write a little bit less, but try to keep around 50 or 60 words. Okay? 50 or 60 words. Both for introduction and overview. There must be 4 introductions and 4 overviews for 4 graphs. Okay? By the beginning of the next lesson. On Saturday, we are going to conduct speaking lesson. First, speaking lesson, and then check if we have time. Check this homework. If you don't have any questions, then bye. See you.
Thank you for the lesson.
You're welcome.